If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
And welcome to the K-Files with myself, Sandra Smith, and Lyndall K.
I have to smile more. I've been told a couple of times I look angry on TV.
Stop looking, yes.
Sometimes the material.
He got a haircut. Oh, he thinks that gives him the right to look angry.
That's the once a month hairstyle.
Very good. I'm glad you have got the nerve to go because I'm scared to go.
I didn't go anywhere. I cut this in my kitchen.
Oh,
with a razor, with a,
Well, I can't. If I did mine, I wouldn't be able to come on TV. I want to talk a little bit about this morning real quick. I want to mention our sponsors and thank them. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun over on Sunset Avenue. Thank them very much for the sponsorship of the K-Files. Carolina Wiring on Country Club Road. I want to thank them for the sponsorship, and Statewide Insurance. It takes sponsors, folks, to bring things like this to the air. It takes a lot of effort and good sponsorship, and that's what we have, and I want to thank them for that. So
absolutely.
What have we got on tap this morning?
Somebody's got to keep the lights on. Of course, right. It's the third Thursday of the month. That means
that means Rocky Mount PD.
That's right. Lieutenant Soufan will be on in a little while.
Okay.
With a case that they've been working on, and he's got some interesting stuff for us to look at. They always bring the goodies when they show up. All right, so we're going to talk about we're going to do something a little different in the third segment.
Okay.
So people hang out for that. But right now I want to.
I don't even know what it is. I promise you.
Yeah, if I told you, you probably wouldn't let me do it.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
All right. So to start things off, I want to talk about a case that has bothered me for a little while, and it involves a child. And anytime that a child's involved, and there was a little girl about 4 years old. The body was found up in Northampton County, which is not too far up the road here. And that was in December 26 of 1983, and found by hunters in the woods. Okay, so
4 years old.
Right. First thing off the bat is that the December 26th. I mean, that you could almost everybody in North Carolina is found. I mean, unidentified bodies. You know, and I don't mean like someone who was murdered yesterday and dumped off, and then they're found in 2 days, right? But I'm talking about long-term unidentified bodies. They're almost always found at Thanksgiving or Christmas time, because that's when folks are out hunting, and that's when they stumble across these bodies in the woods.
Right.
So I mean, I saw that. I saw that pattern develop a few years ago, and I was like, you know, why is it always Thanksgiving?
Yeah, because who goes in the woods?
No.
I mean, you really don't go in the woods.
I think
unless you are hunting,
right,
or something like
most
that.
of the cases, unidentified body cases that I've covered are either hunters or surveyors.
Yeah.
Or every once in a while, somebody riding a four-wheeler.
ATV.
That's right. That's it. I mean, that's about the extent. And there's, I think there's 118 to 120 unidentified bodies in North Carolina right now that the medical examiner has, in their office or whatever, that they keep track of. And I mean, almost all of them, probably every single one of them was either found by a surveyor, a hunter, or somebody riding an ATV. So that's who hangs out in the woods.
Right. That's right.
All right. So the sad thing about this little girl again is that.
Well, how long had she? Do you think she had been there?
Oh, they think like a year or two, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Because they only found partial skeleton. You know, she was decomposed to the point that it was her skull.
I was fixing to ask that question.
Yeah, and we've got a composite that missing there. That's what they believe that she looked like. Of course, I mean, you know, there's no way to tell hairstyle or anything like that. You know,
Right.
so she was of mixed race. She was black and white, according to forensic anthropologists who studied the case for the medical examiner's office.
Right.
I mean, they went all out with this thing, and there's some science in this case that makes me wonder. Okay, if they can do this much science on this case,
Right.
why can't we do that for some other cases? Because I mean, we're talking about something I had never heard of before, but apparently they sent her bones off to a lab, and they were able to look at the oxygen content in her bones.
Really?
Right? Yeah, and from
After that long?
yeah, they could look at the oxygen the oxygen isotope. Right, there's a big fancy word I haven't heard since college. Oxygen isotope analysis said that this girl had lived in various places in eastern United States, including Florida. So they were able to pull out science. They were able to pull out the oxygen in her bones, study it, determine that the contents in that oxygen matched Florida, and so her body was found. Well, I honestly had neither until this case. Her body was found along I-95. Right off of I-95. So there's really no indication that she lived in this area or that she was from this area, just that she was dumped in this area. So they could have been on a trip from Florida to Maine or New York, who knows, and then the body just got dumped here. So they were also able to tell from that oxygen isotope analysis that she was born and lived in the United States. So there was no foreign oxygen in her bone. You know, it's crazy. They can take samples from the air and match
amazing.
that. Yeah, it really is. I'd like to see. I wish I read this on a lot more unidentified body cases. Okay,
but see, the child had to. Everybody is registered. I mean, everybody has a Social Security number. At some point, this child was supposed to show up at school.
You're getting, wow, Sandra, you're doing very well because when you have an unidentified body that is a child, right? To me, and this is a little bit of speculation, but it's just based on a lot of experience and common sense, like you just said. I'm going to go ahead and say that the family was involved in this. because, and the reason why is because if you're a family, if you're a mom and dad, or mom or dad or whatever, and your little 4-year-old girl goes missing,
right,
and then this body is found a couple years later, right, you're gonna come forward and want your daughter back.
I mean,
right?
don't you report your child missing?
Exactly. So we have no missing persons reports that match this person.
Wow.
Because they can take DNA, you know, the NAMUS system, which is the National Unidentified Missing Persons Network. I mean, they have a data bank of DNA of people who are missing children. They submit DNA, and then they can run it when a body is found. There's now a database that they can run against. And you can go on to NAMUS, which, folks, I spent a couple hours on NAMUS. It's manus.org, I believe, but you'll find it. Just Google NAMUS.
Check that out.
And it has every long-term missing person and unidentified body in the United States, right? So I mean, you can spend a long time on there, and you can break it down by county, you can break it down by state, by county, by the city they were found in. And so a lot of times when you see on one of these NAMUS reports, it'll have it'll say, like, these people have been excluded as being this body. So they've already ran the DNA and matched up, and some of them have like 20 names that, okay, we've already checked and these people are not this person, to save everybody a lot of time, So, but there's nothing for this child. So to me, the family at some point dumped this girl on the side of the road like trash, did not report her missing, and did not
I would almost
did not
say
follow up
it's
with
gotta be family.
Yeah, I mean, because like you said, once she gets school age,
I mean,
then you've got a record. I mean, up until then, I mean, really all you've got is birth certificate and shot record. That's all. I mean, that's all a child really has.
And people have no reason to question. They don't at that age,
Right. So let's say that you're moving. And I mean, this sounds terrible, but I mean, it happens all the time. Let's say that you're moving, and you're going to move from Florida to Pennsylvania, and you want to start over fresh, and you don't want the girl around because all she does is eat and cause trouble and everything like that. So, you dump her out on the side of the road on halfway through your move from Florida to wherever. Who would know if the family doesn't report it?
That's right.
There's no one to know that she's missing, because if you don't have a large extended family, that would
so interesting.
Yeah,
and so terrible.
Yeah, so now they did some more stuff, and this is really fascinating right here. During the pregnancy, when this girl was in the womb, her mother lived in the Midwest. Now, yeah, absolutely. I don't know if this is new science, but we surely need to start using this a lot more.
Absolutely.
So, and this was all done in a lab, studying oxygen in the bones. There was nothing but a skeleton and a few bones left when they found. I mean, I said a skull and a few bones left. So obviously, I mean, the picture is an artist rendering of what they think she looked like. Because I mean, we don't have there's another view of what she may have looked like. Slightly different than the other one. They gave her different hairstyle and all that. But we don't know. We don't know her eye color. We don't know her hair color. We don't know how dark that her skin was. She could have been light skinned. She could have been dark skinned. I mean, we just don't know these things. Now there is ways. I have seen another really fascinating thing. I've seen where they've taken DNA from a crime scene and reconstructed what they think the person looked like based on that DNA. And I think there's a couple of cases. I know one in Ohio that got solved based on there was some blood at a crime scene. They gave that blood to this company, this scientific company, and they built out and when you look at the two pictures, the sketch of what they thought this person would look like based just on their DNA and what the person looked like was uncanny. You know, they had the hairstyle wrong. But, you know, when Lieutenant Soufan can tell you when he gets over here that when you go to identify somebody, they call it the T. You look at the eyes and the nose. Because the eyes and the nose never change, right? You get different hairstyles. When I was in 4th grade, I hit my head really hard right here, and I had a big scar on my head for years. But that scar's back here now. You know, so you can't. Everything changes except for the eyes and the nose, and you can do that. Folks, take a picture of yourself from 10 or 15 years ago and take a picture of yourself now and put them side by side. Yeah. The eyes and the nose are the same. So I believe that's what law enforcement looks for when they look for people. This case is heart-wrenching because, and this is probably why I don't smile a lot on the show, but I mean, you've got a 4-year-old girl who, I don't know, no one knows the story except for who put her there. But I mean, I just in my mind, I see a girl thinking that she's moving, but she doesn't know that she's not part of the move, because if family wasn't involved in this, I just would have to think that they would have. I mean, she's been missing. I mean, they found this body in 1983, and she's been in the computer systems, all of the databases that law enforcement has and the public can look at on it. She's been in there for many years. Not right away, but she's been in there for 30 years. So it's like, how is somebody, if they were looking for her, they would have found her by now.
Right, absolutely.
So, this is one of those cases, and you were
very interesting.
You were dead on to ask about school, because I think you'll see that a lot of kids, when it comes to child bodies that are not claimed, they're always that preschool age.
Yes.
Because once they get into school, then they don't show up. Where's little Johnny at? Yeah, where the social worker wants to know where little Johnny is. So
unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's what we got, folks. I hope if you know of somebody that had a child and then they didn't.
I think we learn something new on this show every week.
I learned
so
something
educational. Like the oxygen. I had no idea there was even still oxygen in the bones for that long. And I didn't even know they could really study oxygen in the bones and tell geographic location.
Well, I mean, the medical examiner's office, I think, went, because a lot of times unidentified body cases end up under the jurisdiction of the medical examiner's office, because you can't tell a lot of times with just a body. Let's say you find a body in the woods, right? Like I've been writing on Facebook about a body that they found in Sanford in July, right? So let's just say that you find a body in the woods and it's decomposed, right, to the point that it's really just a skeleton. I mean, there's no evidence unless you can find damage to the bones or something like that. I mean, a lot of times there's no evidence that a crime has been committed. You could strangle someone really good with a ligature, really good, dump them out in the woods, and then if they're not found for a while, there'll be no evidence of that. Gunshot too. I mean, you can get shot and die and it not strike a bone, so then they would never know. So the medical examiner, what was I saying? The medical examiner ends up with these cases a lot of times because there's no evidence of foul play. It could have just been a drunk that wandered into the woods and never got out. That happens a lot. So with this being their case, I mean, I know the guy. His name's Clyde. He's a really strange fella, and he don't mind me saying that. I mean, he hangs around, but he hangs in the bone room all the time. I mean, he just likes that kind of thing. Yeah. And I've been up there to visit with him, and he's just got boxes and boxes of bones that he knows those bones inside and out. I guess just like a detective that knows a case, he knows his bones, and so they. Folks, if like I said, if you know anybody that had a child and then all of a sudden that child just disappeared.
Right.
Get that hotline to call and make
Please
some,
call
make some money.
406-6736. And real quick, we will say that we have $15,000 in
That's
the
right.
kitty. Please call because it's up to $15,000 with no conviction. We don't make you wait for conviction, folks. I mean,
It's at a restaurant.
And it's anonymous.
Or in this case, identification. I'd go for that. I'd be happy
Right.
just to find out who this girl is.
And we've got to get the text-to-tip number
Right.
up. I think Lieutenant Soufan can
Yeah,
do
he's-
that.
yeah,
when he
he's got-
comes
yeah,
in.
we've got that
We'll
this
do the
week.
text-to-tip
Yep.
number as well this morning. So anyway, we'll be right back with Lieutenant Soufan.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
And welcome back, and we have Lieutenant Soufan with us this morning from the Rocky Mount Police Department to talk about a special case. They come the third week in each month, and we've asked them to pull out certain cases that they want to focus on at that time. So who are we doing today?
This morning we're going to talk about Rafiq Soufan, and if you asked who Rafiq Soufan was in the neighborhoods, nobody would know who he was because he went by Sammy. Sammy was a staple in the community in South Rocky Mount, and today we're going to talk about his unfortunate homicide.
Okay.
Sammy was born in Jerusalem back in 1964, and he immigrated to America and started operating Sam's Takeout in 1987. And when I started in 95, I worked the South area and ended up many nights in his store having conversations with him on night shift because he was open into the late hours of the night. And we just, as like I said, he's just a staple of the neighborhood. Everybody seemed to like Sammy.
Sure.
That is up until about 2011. Unfortunately, on March 8th, 2011, at 12:48 in the morning, we responded to a call of a person lying in the doorway at Sammy's Takeout.
He was open late.
He was. He typically closed up midnight to 2 o'clock, depending on the foot traffic and the folks coming through. And looked like he was about to close up then. But we responded and found him deceased in the doorway. Several gunshot wounds and signs of some struggle inside the store. But we followed tips. We worked the leads as we could, and unfortunately the case went cold. Being open late night, neighborhood grocery, it's possible it was a confrontation with an irate customer. It's possible that robbery was the motive. We don't know for sure, and that's what we're doing is asking for tips from anybody who may know even the slightest bit of information.
Somebody has to know something. Either, the robber had to have talked to someone, I mean, don't you think, or...
By now, for sure, there's been some information spread.
So
somebody knows something.
Well, do we have a picture of the store this morning? Or
we do have a picture of the outside and the inside.
Okay, let's look at the outside of the store and the inside of the store, if we can.
I gotta put my eyeball.
That is located, folks, where Cokie Road and Old Wilson Road split, and the railroad track is right there. There it is, right there. Right there on the right-hand side is Old Wilson Road, and it's on that corner right there. It was Sammy's Takeout. Sammy, by the way, he was not Sammy. They called him Sammy. Nobody ever knew it, but Sammy Evans and his wife ran this store. It was a restaurant. They sold hamburgers, hot dogs, and things like that for years. And so, anyway,
that's how he got the nickname. They called him Sammy.
They called him
Sammy.
He kept the name Sammy's Takeout or Sammy's Store or whatever the name of it was.
Interesting. I didn't. So that's how he got the nickname. Okay.
Yeah, that's how he got the nickname.
Lieutenant, you had said that by now that somebody had probably shared this information, right?
We would hope.
Right. And I mean that's kind of how cases go, right? Like in the beginning, time is your enemy, right? And if you know the first few days, you know, you try to get as much information as you can, do as much work as you can to, you know, but then eventually, maybe years later, time becomes your friend, because in my experience, after a while, people do begin to talk about things. They may have not wanted to say nothing, you know, to anybody in the first place, or the people that they told they trusted. But then after years, you start having divorces. You know, you start having
friends split up.
Right, exactly. So there's that opportunity, and that's why we do this show. That's why we do everything we do, is because there's some possibly, like you said, you know, possibly there's somebody sitting out there that knows about this, but they haven't seen it on the news lately. They haven't, you know, they haven't seen it put out lately. So they're like, well, you know, if nobody's talking about it, what's the, you know, but once they see it on TV, you know, the internet, however they're getting this, hopefully they'll come forward, and that the
text to tip is right there,
and the phone number. So I mean, you can do this and make some money. I mean, like Sandra said, we got $15,000 that people can, you know, up to $15,000 that they can make. So something I didn't know until just now. Sandra, you talking about people learning something every day. So I mean, you knew the guy. You frequented the store a lot. You know, when you were we talked about this last time you were here, that you started on patrol in '95, right? You've been here a long time. So I mean, you know, I would say, I mean, I know y'all treat every crime the same. You know, you treat every victim the same. You investigate all the cases. You know,
right?
But I mean, it's what's it like to know, and you know, rather than it being a perfect stranger when you arrive at the crime scene. I mean, what's it like to know that it was this guy that you did know?
It's a different feeling to know and recognize the person there that you know, met their demise. It's not much different from any other case. Like you said, we're going to work the case with the same tenacity, and we're going to put every effort into trying to solve the case, but it does take on a little bit of a personal level.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you said to yourself, wow, when it happened, wow, this is a guy that I went and had many conversations with late night on my shift.
Tell us again, what year was that and all that?
2011, March 8th.
March 8th, 2011. Okay, folks, so the show airs at 8 o'clock Thursday morning. It airs Friday night at 7 p.m. It airs Tuesday at 10. You can watch it live streamed on WHIG TV. We'll put it on YouTube eventually.
And so anywhere in the world can watch us.
Worldwide access. So, I mean, I just have to think that people know about this. I mean, like you said, he was as popular as he was, and everybody knew him. I mean, there's no way that people aren't, you know, there's no way that people aren't talking about this or have been talking about it. So
it is anonymous. It is anonymous.
Right, and the information does not come to Sandra or I. No. It goes straight to law enforcement. So law enforcement has it. You know, we don't know what the information coming in. This is not us seeking information for this TV show or anything else. No. This is us seeking information that goes to law enforcement so that y'all can use that information.
There's nothing we would like better than to solve a crime.
Right. It works. I've been a part of organizations in the past that did this, and it takes a little bit to prime the pump, you know. But once it gets going, I mean, it does work. People, you'll get paid. And how it works is that you call in with the tip, you get like a number or some other identifying code word.
Yes.
Then when the time comes for the payout, you go to whatever bank that we've established. You know, all that information will be provided to the
tipster. Right.
So you go there, you get the code word, you get your money, and no questions asked. No one knows who you are. They can't be compelled to go to court because no one knows who they are. So we're just looking for the information. And a lot of times I think maybe people, they might have like hearsay information, or they might have, Bobby said this or whatever. That might not be information that you can use in court, but it's information that you can use to further your investigation, correct? I mean, anything helps, right?
That's right. Anything that points us in the right direction for the suspect.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, we thank you for coming in this morning, reminding us, and let me remind you again, let's talk about the location. This was a store on the corner of Old Wilson Road, where it forks, Cokie Road here, Old Wilson Road here, railroad track here. We went down there and filmed many times, so I remember it. But anyway, the location, maybe getting the location in your mind will jog your memory. So anyway, if you have any information, please call. It's very important.
And that's a crime scene photo from that night, right?
Correct.
I mean, okay. So is the store, is it open now under other management? Do we know?
I don't believe it is.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Lieutenant Soufan, for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me on.
This and
I'm hoping third time's a charm and we'll get some good tips.
Yeah,
I hope
absolutely.
so. I hope so. And we hope to see you the third week in next month.
I'll be here.
All right. We'll be
Thank you,
right
sir.
back.
Thank you.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
Hello, folks. I'm going to show you some pictures in a minute. That's why we zoomed up. Sandra is taking a break while I do this. General Gordon Bray just texted me a really good thought on the case we talked about this morning about the 4-year-old girl that they found the body. Nobody knows who she is. He said that that people should consider her being adopted or her being a foster child, that would give even more of opportunity for that family to dispose of her, because there wouldn't be an extended family to know about it or whatever. So I mean, that was a really good thought. So also, think about that if you know family who had adopted child or foster family who suddenly child goes missing. Think it over, and we're talking anywhere from Florida to anywhere in the United States. Really, I think that poor girl was just dumped here because that's just a convenient place to pull over on the side of the road in the middle of the night and throw her out. So anyway, think about that. what I want to do right now, we've begun to talk about the Seven Bridges Road case. We've talked to Jamal Farrar, who's an independent filmmaker. Next week, we've got a really good interview that I just filmed at Nash Arts in Nash County about a lady that wrote a play based on the Seven Bridges Road cases. And I'm trying to cover this from all angles, because there's a lot of moving parts in this story, folks. Every Sunday I write a new entry about it on the K-Files Facebook page. So if you haven't read all that, you can check that out. But what I have here is I have pictures of all of these women that we're talking about, okay? Because I think we talk about these women, and when we do individual cases, we're going to show their individual pictures or whatever so you can see them better. But I just wanted you to get an idea of what the magnitude of what we're talking about here, okay? So this is Denise Williams. Now, I think I've proven in some writing that I've done for the Telegram that Denise Williams was not associated with the other victims. However, she did die in approximately around the same time. So in the public, she's always included in these cases. I can't, no matter what I do, I can't seem to pry her out of the public's opinion that she's involved in these cases, and we'll talk about her on the air pretty soon. But she was more than likely killed by her boyfriend. Everybody knows it. The cops know it. Her family knows it. His family knows it. So again, not a victim of the Seven Bridges Road killer per se, but always included in the list. The next one is Melanie Wiggins. Also the same for her. Until recently, I had thought that she was included in the list, but I've found out that she's not, and we will be having a story about her very soon. Okay, and then you got Nikki Thorpe, who was this, I think, law enforcement believes was probably the first victim of the Seven Bridges Road killer. Okay, and there's Carolyn Ransom, who was killed about the same time. Okay, here's Ernestine Battle. She was murdered about the same time. And then here's Liz Smallwood. Of course, her body was found. She was not even reported missing. She didn't have family in the area when they found her body. And then Tara Nicholson. This is the lady that Antoine Pittman was convicted of murdering. He tossed her body at Seven Bridges Road just like he did the rest of them. Of course, he was only tried in one case. It was the case that they had the best physical evidence and the best scientific evidence. I think a lot of people would have liked to see more of these victims get their day at trial, but that didn't happen. Here's Jarnice Hargrove. Her mother died in 2014. Still wanting some sort of justice for her daughter. I think I've said this before on the show. It's nice that the person who they say the person who killed these ladies went to jail, but I think the families would feel better about it if he was in prison for the murder of their daughter. Okay, here's Ernestine Boone, Roberta Williams, Yolanda Lancaster, and then Joyce Durham. Joyce Durham is still missing. They have not found her body. The National Guard couldn't find her body. They went out there a couple of times along Seven Bridges Road looking for her. As we talked about it earlier in the show, one day a hunter or a surveyor or somebody riding a four-wheeler, because one of these girls was found by somebody riding a four-wheeler. Somebody's going to stumble across some skeleton bones out there in Edgecombe County along Seven Bridges Road, and they're going to realize that we finally found the final victim. So I want to talk about who exactly law enforcement believes was a victim of Antoine Pittman. Okay, so there was a search warrant that was served in Halifax County. Everything in Nash County in Edgecombe County had been sealed. They found a body in Halifax County. Law enforcement failed to seal that search warrant, so it was made public. It was reported on heavily, but we know that for sure that Nikki Thorpe, Ernestine Battle, Tara Nicholson. Again, Antoine Pittman was convicted for that murder. Hargrove and Boone, where we know that law enforcement had strong suspicion that Antoine Pittman killed these 5 ladies because they were included in an affidavit to obtain a search warrant for Mr. Pittman's old house out there in Halifax County, okay? Those were the names that were out in the public. I mean, those were the names that they knew had died when they wrote that search warrant. But after they arrested Mr. Pittman, and he's sitting in jail, they continued to find bodies that had been killed a couple years prior out there on Seven Bridges Road. And so, I mean, there's Liz Smallwood, Roberta Williams, Yolanda, everybody called her Snap, Lancaster, and of course, Joyce Durham has not been found yet. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got 12 women, and then there was also a gentleman that was a cross-dresser that was killed about the same time, and folks, they like to throw that into the mix as well. I think the family may regret that now. I know what they wanted was they wanted attention on the case, and rightfully so. So they thought if it was included in these Seven Bridges Road cases that it would get more attention, which I guess it did in the public eye. But then when the bad part of that is when these cases were over with the arrest and conviction of Antoine Pittman, their case kind of got stuck in limbo, right? So we have 12 women. We know that the first 2, Janice Williams was killed in 2003, and Melanie Wiggins was killed in 2005. So law enforcement do not believe that either one of these women were part of the case, but then the rest of them, they do believe was Mr. Pittman. So I got here in 2015, and I remember this case from years ago. I've been in the business for 20 years. I remember when this happened. And, you know, first thing when I got here in 2015, I wanted to write about this and ask them. I started asking around about it, and everybody just kind of, I don't want to use the word forgotten, but everybody just kind of pushed it to the side. And I think that these women deserve more than this. So this may be a little bit of editorializing on my part, but I do think that I think those women that were lumped in with the conviction of Tara Nicholson, I think they deserved better than that. I think they should have had some sort of adjudication in court. You know, I don't know what could happen at this point. We're 10 years now from the conviction of Mr. Pittman. He's still getting in trouble in prison. He's got some infractions. You know, I mean, he's there. He's not going anywhere. He's in there for life. His appeal's already come and gone. I mean, he's stuck there for life. I just really feel like these other women deserve some measure of justice for their families. And you know, one of the mothers has already died. I wish that all the other mothers, they got to be so close. I've talked to several of them. They got to be really close because of all this. And it would just be a shame to see more mothers die without some sort of justice for their daughter. And then of course, then we've got the 3 or 4 cases that are 2 or 3 cases that were not involved with Mr. Pittman at all. And I don't mean to say that law enforcement isn't working these cases. As a matter of fact, we were supposed to interview with Lieutenant Muse up there in Tarboro about one of the cases a couple weeks ago, but he got real busy with some current crimes, so we're going to hit that again. And you know, law enforcement always works these cases, but for what we do, that we bring the public's attention to things so that they can help law enforcement by providing information. These cases have really fallen out of the news, and that's a shame. So, you know, Denise Williams, killed in 2003 by her boyfriend. Melanie Wiggins, I don't know much about that case. She was beaten and stabbed to death. Antoine Pittman, his MO was strangulation. He strangled all these other girls. We need to do something better for these families than what's been done. I know Rocky Mount wants to appear better, but I think I said this on the show. I can't remember. There's so much goes through my head. My son lives in Chicago, the murder capital of the world. He got married last summer, and my wife and I flew up there and had 3 wonderful days in Chicago, downtown Chicago. Didn't get murdered. So, tourists go to New York and Chicago and LA every day, and they go there knowing that people get murdered. So, people get murdered in Rocky Mount. I don't think that we have advanced tourism any by sacrificing these families' peace of mind and justice by pretending. And again, this is not law enforcement. This is other officials, other organizations and agencies have been willing to sacrifice these women so that Rocky Mount is seen as being better. But let's be better instead of being perceived as better. And so I think that we can do more for these families than what's been done. And that's my thing. I wanted to focus up on the pictures, but I also just wanted to be alone so Sandra doesn't take any heat for what I've just said. We need to live up to being the city on the rise, and we need to take care of our people. One of my favorite authors is Michael Conley, and he says that a city that forgets its murder victims is a city that's lost. And I don't want that for our city. And I think it's time. 10 years. It's about time for us to separate what cases were what, and let's deal honestly with the public about what we're doing. And that's pretty much all I got, folks. I got 1 minute, Sandra?
Yeah.
Half a minute. Wow. What can I do in half a minute? Folks, I got 5 kids. I got a bunch of dogs and cats. I had to take my kid to the vet the other day because my son was running and he kicked my chihuahua in the mouth and knocked her tooth out. And we had to go she ended up having to get 5 teeth taken out, surgically removed, because it was all messed up. So, public service announcement for the week: don't run and kick your chihuahua in the mouth because it'll cost you a lot of money.
And the Lynn Kill case will be coming up.
As soon as Sandra does her homework on the K-Files. Yes, I know what I can do. I can waste this time. 8 o'clock Thursday morning, 7 o'clock Friday night, 10 o'clock Tuesday night. You can watch it on WHIG on your cable system or all over the state, or you can watch it on WHIG TV streaming live, and eventually it'll be on YouTube where the whole world can look at it. So we're out. Is that good? Have I done it? Sandra says I can go. Hey, that's weird. When I look this way, my head goes that way. All right, folks, that's it. Thanks a lot.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.